song, pretty lady. Born to be angry, grip of the vice, click on the trigger, girl. Sip hard on ice, it's about time. Best to the right, you better know. My heart's your, go baby go. It's about time. I'm on a tightrope. Don't go. It's about time. It's about. All the years of paradise, paradigms paralyze us. You're crazy. All the cards you organize, shuffle twice in front of my eyes. Everybody needs what's so cold, girl. Lights, love, go, baby, go. It's about time. I'm on a tightrope. Don't go. It's about time. It's about.
Well, welcome one and all to another visit to Australia for the Alpha Touring Challenge. We are at Sandown. This is the second time the series has come here. Last time we only had 20 some odd cars. This time we've managed to convince 34 people to arrive at Sandown for a race today. And those 34 people, I really appreciate them, because this is one of those tracks where you think not a whole lot of people are going to be able to find the time or the place to show up. But here we are, and we have a beautiful race in store for you today here in Australia. On pole today, again, a bit of a surprise. And here's what the drivers will be facing. A 45-minute affair. We do expect one pit stop. The drivers will have to change their tires at that stop, or at least one tire. No rain expected, so this should be a nice sunny affair. And there is, like last week, a bit of surprise at the top of the grid, or maybe it shouldn't be too surprising, but we are seeing John Lazan and Raymond 2 stellar qualifying performances once again, and they have worked to keep McKenzie out of the top 5 here today. Polasek resumes his usual spot there at the top, but very, very closely followed by former champion Savidovic, who is in P2, joining Polasek on the front row today. So going down, we have Mayer starting there in 4th as well to round out the top 5. Schenk 7th, Leibold 8th, Zepka 9th, and then Corey Lobner picks up a Delta pole. He starts 10th overall here, and he will have Chris McDonald directly behind him. Damon Mitchell starting 11th, Bowman 13th, McFarland 14th, and Bertolucci 16th. Sim Racing Grid, aside from Mayer, struggling in qualifying today. But Clavijo, last week's first-time winner, Tyler Long, starting there in 17th. You have Murray, Dave Thomas, and John Daniels, and JB DeJay, your top 3 in the Delta class, starting down in 6th, 7th, and 8th in class. Something to keep an eye on for this race. Rakowski, Meeperson, Richtmeyer, Lynn, Trost, Alrijla, Saab, Clark, McAllister, Thomas, Marcel Thomas, Noah, Nemayak, and Barber, and then finally Mark Darnell round out the 34 car field that is ready to go here at Sandown International Raceway. And we are due a very, very exciting race here today. Look at the way this grid is. Unlike other grids, these are not staggered spots. You start directly alongside the other person. I believe this is the first time we've seen this season. So it should be very interesting to see how this develops. This is actually the first time I'm realizing it, and I drove in this race. So let's go down there. We have less than 10 seconds before the start, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and start now. Michael Polasek, Wojciech Swiatovich, they will lead us off the front row here at Sandown, and they get the green flag, and they will be side by side heading down to turn one. It's an even start from the two drivers. Polasek will have that inside line, and Swiatovich will have to give it up. Not yet, and they will fight for the lead into turn one. So far, so good. Everyone got through there cleanly, and now Swiatovich is working the outside of the championship leader. Gets a bad exit out of the corner, but Will Mayer give him the pump draft. So far, it looks like everyone's had a clean run to the first couple of corners behind. This is where things are going to get dangerous. This downhill chicane has been claiming lives through practice and qualifying, as well as the last time we came here. Now 2x2 for the lead on lap one at Sandown. They're not giving an inch. Wojciech Swiatovich pulling in front of Polasek, but still not fully in front. And it looks like they made it through there okay, but now Swiatovich finishes the pass. Polasek has to go defensive on Mayer, and we have a race. Swiatovich has taken the lead from Polasek, and he will not lead the first lap of this race. And in the Delta class, you have Chris McDonald, who's taken the lead from Corey Lobner. He and Clavijo have gone around Lobner. McKenzie going defensive against Schenk into turn one. The rest of the top five going in there single file. And everything looking okay for McKenzie at the moment. He stays ahead of Schenk. There is Zepka working on Clavijo. Oh, getting side by side, a little dicey. Clavijo goes over the curb, and McDonald will have the door open for him. But hey, Clavijo has gone around McDonald. I guess that is the main takeaway there. And so we have another new Delta leader, and Corey Lobner's pulled right back up to this group. So coming down to the chicane now, they're all going to be right on top of each other. Zepka moving behind Clavijo. Clavijo dropping behind McDonald, and he may be serving to slow down. Zepka going sideways, and what's that? That's McFarlane. McFarlane goes sideways, and there's a huge crash. Bertolucci gets sent way back into the field. More contact. Bertolucci there. We have a lot of cars. Oh my God, John Daniels is involved, huge in the Delta Championship. Your Delta Championship leader, his car's fully broken. Oh man, can he even get that back? And now Richtmeyer has spun off on the second to last corner. John Daniels is still trying to nurse. He's trying to get back to pit lane. He knows up toe will take longer, but I've never seen a car crab locking harder than that. Oh no! And he's still going to try it. You have to commend him, but now it's just faster to toe. And Swiatovich still leads this race. That was a huge accident. Jason Lynn, let's look at pit lane. Lynn, Murray, Thomas was involved. Daniels. We have Zepka, Barber, McFarlane, Bertolucci. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is a solid fourth of the field collected there. And they are just now getting their pit stops done. Bertolucci and McFarlane will be taking a little longer because they forgot to tell the team to not put tires on. It's a short endurance race, 45 minutes, so it's going to be a bit more frantic than usual. Only one pit stop. So now, of the top three in the Delta Championship, who survives? There he is, JB Dejay. Now, Dave Thomas is still around in this race. He's running 28th. But right now, as things stand, DJ is almost completely chopping away Daniel's lead in the Delta Championship. And there was a point in time where DJ was down in 5th place in this championship. But over the last the last 4 rounds, he has outscored every other Delta driver, and he's on pace to continue doing it today. Savidovic, Polasek, all the lead group, they're going around a lapped car of Dave Thomas here. And this lead group, although they are still all very close together, none of them have been able to make a move since the start of the race. They might be in somewhat of a fuel-saving mode at the moment. But it's very easy to make a mistake on this track. Schink asking Thomas to let him by as he and Liebold scrap. And he will do so into turn 1. These blue flag cars are going to be in a bit of trouble today because there's not a whole lot of room for them to get out of the way if they're not on the straightaways. So if you bump into someone in those slow corners, you kind of just have to eat it. We just watched Mitchell go around Corey Lobner for P12. That's Damon Mitchell. And a little further back here, we have Spencer Clark, Noah Namayak. I think this is his best career performance thus far, running in 20th. Oh, well, he's up 12 spots since the start. He qualified 32nd and then said, "Thank you very much. The Red Sea will part," and he drove through that wreck. And it has benefited him immensely. Now, just behind him and Kyle Trost, we have Marcel Thomas getting done by Gareth McAllister, who sends it in the chicane, and he gets the job done. That's a nice move by the 25. The Myatt getting a little squirrely there. And Trost is going to try and go around him. This is the first time I've seen Trost in that paint job, so I think T0 is collecting more drivers, T0 and the Valkyries. McAllister took advantage of that, went around as well. Back up front, Savidovic still leads. Liege? Polashek and Matthew May. You know what? I can't keep the joke up. Mayer and Lejean, too, and McKenzie. The gaps between all of them have stayed very stable throughout this race. Looking back in the Delta class, you have Ant Meeperson. He made his first career start last week, and this week, well, he's up 9 spots. He's knocking on the door of a Delta podium. And he certainly seems like he has a decent amount of pace in that Audi. He's looking to the right side of Corey Lobner into the second to last corner, and he will not be able to get alongside him there. But he tucks back in, ready to go at it again. Now, oh no, the teammates are both off. Trost and Namayak. And they are both going back to the garage. We didn't catch what happened there, but that camera shot of both of them pulling in the gravel, very unfortunate. So we jump back to Lobner and Meeperson, and they're not running too far behind Mitchell. Mitchell's probably helping Lobner out on the straights, especially since he has that front end damage. It may be slowing him down in a straight line. And Meeperson's in an Audi. I mean, if the car behind you is in an Audi and you're in a Honda and you have front end damage, it's time to start praying. So I think for now, he's getting helped out a bit with the slipstream from Mitchell. So he'll want to hang on as long as he can there. We're out of the chicane again, and the leaders continue as they were. Savidovic, I think we talked, there was a point earlier in this season where he came close to winning a race. And then he ended up, it was a disconnect actually. And while I'm talking about that, Meeperson does go around Lobner at the bottom of the chicane, and he moves on to the Delta podium. And at the same time, Long and Al Rijla They're scrapping. Rizla's going to have a nice run around the outside line there, and I think he'll have that position for now. Now, yeah, Savinovic, we were talking earlier this season about how he has not won a race in a long while. And once again, he's presented with a golden opportunity to pull it off. Now, Long gets the job done on Al Rizla. At the same time, Brian Saab goes wide ahead of him, putting Long side by side with him now. And Long compensates for it and stays ahead of Al Rizla. And they continue on. Now we're out of the chicane once again for the leaders. And there is Savinovic going directly underneath our blimp. He and Polasek have a slight gap over Mayer, but really, this is kind of just ebbing and flowing, and I'm sure there is some fuel saving going on, even though these drivers are forced to take a tire during their stop, and therefore the amount of fuel you take in the stop doesn't matter. It doesn't determine how long the stop is. What you can do is trim an entire... you can add an extra lap to your first stint, basically, by saving enough fuel. And when you do that, while you still aren't making that pit stop any shorter, you are going another lap on low fuel at probably the best pace the car's got. And when the others pit before you, you're overcutting them because they'll come out on new tires. Those new tires will make them drive a bit slower. So the overcut usually is always the way to go, whether you're fuel saving or not. Polasek getting a little close to Savinovic there, but nothing doing. While we were looking away, McAllister and McFarlane came to blows, and McFarlane, his car is now completely done. McAllister looks like he's still about where he was, but I see a notification that he crashed. He has some left front damage right now. These three, Lazon, 2, and McKenzie, they are at slight risk of losing those ahead. And 2 and McKenzie, that was the closest those two have been since lap 1. If any of them start to scrap, you have Schenk and Leibold right behind them, ready to jump. Chris McDonald currently leads the Delta class, and he leads it by a very nice margin. Evan Clavijo is 8 seconds behind the Gator Racing driver. There is Clavijo, and Clavijo is another 2.5 seconds ahead of Meeperson, who you can see in the Audi in the background there. Meeperson was 7/10 faster than Clavijo on his last lap, but I wonder if Clavijo made a mistake on that lap. So the drive continues up front, and this is a fairly straightforward affair. This track, it's very much, you are racing the track just as much as the other drivers. You've got big curbs to contend with. The chicane in the back half of the track at the end of the back straight. Downhill, the cars light as a feather. We've seen a lot of people eat it there today. Right now, the top 8 has done a stellar job of not eating it there today. But as we were saying, McDonald leads the Delta class. Mitchell's looking in on P2, the Delta class. Clavijo not really leaving him the space, doesn't have to in that situation. And Tyler Long looking for another overtake. Into turn 1, he didn't get the job done on Saab before, and he still won't be able to get the job done on him now. He'll have to wait for another go. And here comes your leader, the number 80. And once again, the leaders as they were. We're almost a third of the way through this race, which should mean we're about to enter the fuel window if anyone wants to make an early stop. Typically, you don't make an early stop for the reasons I mentioned, but that could be change in this race because there is a lot of traffic. It's a short track. There was a big wreck at the start. Cars are spread everywhere. So it should be interesting to see how this plays out. Now that's Rakowski these guys are going around. She has to jump back into line at some point, so she jumps back in front of Raymond 2 and Logan McKenzie. And she will let them by after that corner. Now Clavijo and Mitchell going at it again down the front stretch. Into turn 1, Mitchell on the inside line this time. And he will complete the pass on P2 in the Delta class. And that fight allowed Meeperson to come right back up to the back of Clavijo. Savidovic under a lot of pressure from Polasek into the chicane on this lap. Polasek, he looks left. He's going for the overtake. On the brakes, pushes Savidovic all the way out to the edge of the track, but leaves him the space needed to continue fighting for this spot. They went side by side on lap 1, and that time it was Savidovic coming out ahead. This time it is Polasek who emerges victorious, and we have a new leader 15 minutes into the race at Sandown. And this may not be over. Savidovic is looking left. He's got the slipstream. Does he fuel save or does he push the issue? He decides to stay behind Polasek. Now, is Polasek faster? Can he pull away or help some of these cars pull away from some of these other cars? Maybe he and Savidovic can get away from the rest, or he and Savidovic and Mayer can break off. Let's see just how strong, how much of an effect this slipstream is having. Let's tune back into Tyler Long, because although he and Al Rizla went around Saab, Al Rizla is now alongside Long, and he's looking to finish this overtake on both of them. But I think Long is going to be able to keep this one into the next corner. Al Rizla has nowhere to go with that momentum. Oh, look at this, out of the chicane, Raymond 2, slow, and McKenzie will go by him. That's the first change, that's the second change of position, I guess. We didn't just watch the lead change, but the second change of position in this group of cars now. So things are starting to unsettle a little bit. McKenzie, he's about 8/10 off the group. He should have no trouble closing that back up. Chris McDonald, still leads in the Delta class, and his lead grows all the time. He was a second and a half faster than Clavijo that last time around. Corey Lobner, remember he had the damage early on. We said the pit window would be opening soon. Well, here you go. He pulls into his stall, and this is surely a double. It's two things. One, it repairs the car. Second, it gets him out from behind Clavijo and Meeperson and that battling. And all three of those cars are still right next to each other. It looks like another car has been claimed. Mitchell Rickmeyer in the pits now with a destroyed car as Corey Lobner exits. And he will rejoin. He'll have some very clean air in front of him, it looks like. But what's interesting, he's also rejoined not too far ahead of the leaders. Look at them in the background. Now, last time around before his pit stop, Clavijo did a 16.5. The leaders are doing low 15s. So what's going to happen there is they're going to catch Lobner. Lobner is only 10 seconds ahead of the leaders right now. So pitting early could benefit Lobner. Get him out of traffic. Gets the damage repaired. But at the same time, it puts him at risk of coming under the blue flags, and then he will just lose out. Meeperson has gotten alongside Clavijo, is going for the move. P2 in the Delta class, but can't get the move done. Has to leave space for Clavijo at the edge of the track, and the 187 keeps that position for now. In that lead pack, now Lazan has yielded the position to McKenzie. So McKenzie, 2 passes in, I think, 3 laps, but the gap to that group up there is now 127, and that I think this is the best group, best chance this group of lead cars, this lead 3, has had of breaking off from what looks like a slower trio of McKenzie, Lazan, and 2. Schink and Liebold aren't threatening them. Polasek has a nice gap right now compared to the rest of the race, 5-6 tenths. We're so used to him pulling away and dominating these endurance races. This is a struggle compared to everything else he's done so far this season. And Meeperson decides it's time to get out of the battle with Clavijo and go for the undercut. Now he comes down pit road and he will be entering his stall. Is it a clean entry? Yes, and they get the jacks up. Meanwhile, Brian Saab and Spencer Clark side by side in the front stretch. This is a battle for 15th, at least for now. And into turn 1, Clark stays ahead. Now, where will Meeperson emerge in relation to Corey Lobner? There is Lobner, who was your Delta pole sitter today. And Meeperson is already on his way out, passed by Jason Lynn, who has yet to make his scheduled stop. He had to pit on lap 1 due to damage. But Lobner is about 4 seconds, a little under 4 seconds off of Meeperson by the time they get to turn 1. And speaking of turn 1, your leaders are entering it now. Lobner's now only 6 seconds ahead of them. And these guys will probably not pit for another 10 to 15 minutes. It's a 35% fuel tank. That probably means somewhere in between 30 and 35 minutes, drivers will start to run out of fuel and be forced to pit. Brian Saab chooses that now is the time to come in. And looking for a clean stop in his box. Does so, up on the jacks. And let's look at we've been looking at the... Whoa! We were about to look at the Alpha leaders. We check in, and Michael Polasek has made a mistake. He goes wide at the chicane, and the extremely rare mistake from your championship leader has manifested. And just like that, the battle for the lead changes again. Polasek demoted to 8th place. He hit the wall. There is some front-end damage, and he will decide he has to come down pit lane to fix that. There he is. And drama out of nowhere at Sandown. Pulls into his stall, looking for a clean entry. He gets that. He'll get the damage fixed immediately. And now Corey Lobner's crashed. Just as the leaders were catching him, he has gone into the wall. That looked like a weird place to crash, actually. But he goes to the pits. Meanwhile, Polasek, he'll be hoping to emerge into clean air, and I think he will. Right here behind Spencer Clark and ahead of Marcel Thomas. But he's got some work to do now. So now the leaders of this race are Savidovic, Mayer, and McKenzie. Lazan and 2 have also not lost this lead group. And at this point, well, Polasek's pitted, so we don't know how far behind he actually is now. But right now, I mean, he's 48 seconds back. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll see if he can jump back into the scrap, if not for the top 3, maybe even for the win. He has a lot of open, like free air, and he's pitted now, so he knows how much he's not doing any fuel saving. He's going to go all out. So here's the interesting part. Everyone else here is probably fuel saving a bit. So Polasek, if he can start chucking in better lap times, it may not be a total disaster. But we'll see what happens. He was at least 5 seconds back when he rejoined, because he rejoined behind Zachary Liebold, and Liebold is currently 6 seconds off the lead. So he would have to make up at least that much time to Savidovic, Mayer, and McKenzie. So now, after that shakeup, things have calmed down a little bit. Looking back at the Delta class, Rakowski and Trost are driving next to each other, 13th and 14th. That's a fairly close fight. You have Schink and Liebold, who we were just looking at. And Liebold, he might be perfectly happy to just get some fuel saving done until the pit stops. Schink, as much as he wants to catch this lead group, I think that they are reliant on some battling happening because this pace is not panning out right now. 0.3 slower than Raymond 2 on that last lap, though even with John Lazon. So Savidovic, he's back in the lead of the race. He might be the fastest car out of these top 5 drivers. And he is once again on the hunt for that elusive 52nd career win. 20 minutes to go here at Sandown. The last time we came here, it was a sprint challenge, and it was a very interesting second race. Today, it was a very interesting second lap. That downhill chicane really proving that anyone can fall foul of it, because we've seen Corey Lobner, Mitchell Rickmeyer, Dan McFarlane, Ian Bertolucci. Well, not Ian Bertolucci, he just got clobbered by his teammate, but Matthew Zepka, Michael Polasek. I mean, the list is huge. Liebold and Schink pit together on the same lap, and this is early, so it's interesting that Liebold followed Schink into the pits. I wonder if he thinks he's slower than Schink. They get dropped at the same time, and there will be no change in position there, and they will come out. Will it be ahead of Michael Polasek? This could be interesting. There goes Spencer Clark, and Polasek may get by Liebold into turn 1 on the brakes, but he will be stuck behind Francois Schink. So there's one car that he passed with some extra pace after pitting early. But you see immediately there's an extra car in front of him that wasn't there before. And Schink was already 2 seconds off the back of Raymond 2. So we can estimate the Polasek's about 3 seconds off the back of Raymond 2, John Lazon right now. Which isn't a disaster. It's not a disaster at all, but I think he may find winning this race extremely hard from where he's at. Savidovic, Mayer, and McKenzie have broken away a little bit from Lazon in 2, and so the top 3 has finally broken away. It's just not the top 3 that I was talking about or expecting. And we bounce to the pits where Spencer Clark has pulled in for his stop. And I also see Damon Mitchell getting his tires changed, and he's dropped down right now. So now it looks like it's just the top 10 that have yet to make a stop. Dave Thomas is also due because he had to stop early due to damage, and John Daniels is due as well. Right now, Michael Polasek, this is important for his race. He has to clear Francois Schink as soon as possible, and he's going to look to the left. He's kind of thinking about it. Now he finally pulls alongside. I don't think Schink's going to fight this too much into this chicane. I feel like it'd be very dangerous to do so. And here we go. He's earlier on the brakes, and he does tuck in behind the one. Not too much of a scrap there. And for Polasek, that is a big win because he really doesn't lose any time on that lap. Maybe a 10th or 2 on the shallower entry into the chicane. And now he's free to go chase back after the leaders. Tyler Long is coming in to make his stop. And he's up on the jacks now. In the meantime, we look in on the leaders. Waj has lost control now. Hold on. Into the chicane. He has to go defensive to keep Mayer behind him. It's not as disastrous as Polasek's mistake, but it puts him on the back foot. It backs Mayer and McKenzie up. And that is a big benefit to Polasek behind, who is still trying to run the fastest laps possible on that forced early stop strategy. McKenzie's really close to Mayer here. I wonder if he looks for a move before the pit stops. Tyler Long has just come out, rejoined 7th in the Delta class. At this point, quite a bit of the field is a lap down. Only 15 cars on the lead lap, but the leaders haven't pitted yet. So some of those cars will end up unlapped. But it's a short track, so you're in big danger of falling prey to blue flags if you pitted early, as we mentioned earlier. So it's just some of these guys have to think about, especially the Delta drivers. And speaking of Delta drivers pitting, it is DeJay pulling onto pit lane from what is right now 3rd place. And he is looking for his stall, looking for a clean entry. He's got the very last stall there, and that will be a smooth pit stop. Matthew Mayer all over the back of the 80 now. Waj seems like he's been thrown off a bit since the mistake at the chicane, and now he can't get Mayer out of his gearbox. So here they come down the straight once again. Not halfway through an hour-long race, but this is a 45-minute race, so we're 2/3 of the way to the end now. And right now, the leaders stay out. We still have a few cars left to pit. We have the entire top 8, and then also Marcel Thomas has yet to pit. Chris McDonald is on pit lane now, your current Delta leader. Getting jacked up, and Clavijo will follow him. So I think some of these drivers are getting to the end of their fuel tanks. We're seeing them trickle in more and more. Checking back in on Savidovic as they go to the chicane. In the meantime, Polasek, Schink, and Leibold pass the Delta leaders in pit lane. Another clean chicane from these guys. Chris McDonald is on pit out, and he is looking to maintain the Delta lead. I don't think he's going to have any problem doing that. DeJay 6 seconds behind him. Marcel Thomas in pit lane now, and Ant Meeperson has gone another lap. Raymond 2, one of the top 5, pulls onto pit road. There's Marcel Thomas jacked up, getting those fresh tires. So we bounce back to the leaders, and Savidovic cannot get himself rid of that pesky number 12. And that 04 is holding on, and the 77 of John Lazon has closed this gap. Oh, a big moment for McKenzie off the curb. In the end, it amounts to not even a major time loss. But as I was saying, Lazon, he has closed up to the back of this, and he is very much in this fight for the lead as well. Al Ridgelet now hits pit road, and that will do it for the Delta class. They've all come in except for Dave Thomas. And McDonald pulls on to the front straightaway with a commanding lead of the Delta class here at Sandown. There, Fuada Ridgelet is still getting tires in the background, and Clavijo has gone wide at the final corner, so McDonald's closest competition here is now under threat from Meeperson. And Meeperson, I'm sorry, I mentioned he hadn't pitted. He actually pitted much earlier. He pitted all the way back on lap 15. So now, here he goes. In the meantime, as he finishes this overtake on Clavijo, Savidovic, Lazon, and McKenzie are all on pit road, and these still are 2 wide still, and finally Meeperson's going to win out. And that will allow, that's one of the lead cars. That's Mayer actually going by. That's going to slow down Mayer while all of the leaders are on pit road. McKenzie is out of his box. Savidovic is out of his. It's going to be a close race off pit road. They may be too wide. Waj pulls ahead there, and now McKenzie and Lazon have to tuck in behind. Matthew Mayer, in the meantime, he's flashing these guys. He still hasn't gotten past Meeperson. And now he's going to be able to perform the overtake in the chicane. Meeperson trying, I think, to make sure he doesn't get re-overtaken by Clavijo by slowing down on the straight. And as a result, let's find out, does Mayer retain the lead of this race? Polasek is only 3 seconds off the leader, so he's still back there. but he's not completely out of it. And Savinovic now losing ground to McKenzie, and actually I'm seeing he has a black flag. He got caught for speeding at pit exit. That's how he managed to edge McKenzie out when it looked like they were going side by side. I think he may have sped there, and now he lets McKenzie and Lazan go, and he will have to serve a penalty. And for Savinovic, another chance at victory is going down the drain here at Sandown. This time, it's the smallest mistake, and I think he was going to beat McKenzie out anyway if he had just stayed on the pit limiter. Now, I believe we're going to see him come in here, and he will have to serve that penalty. Matthew Mayer has circulated an additional time, so he's trying to gain as much time on these guys because you're running the faster laps with the less fuel, and you are on you're setting these fast laps while your competitors have put on a fresh set of tires that's cold, they're slower, and then they aren't much faster when they do come in. Does he have to come in this lap, or does he have enough fuel to go again? He will come down pit road. Matthew Mayer hits pit lane. It's a big hill you have to go over there to actually get up into pit lane, but let's see if he gets a clean stop. And he does, so now we will wait for McKenzie and Lazan, who are currently coming through the chicane. Meat percent has been repassed by Clavijo down the straightaway. So this scrap for the second place in the Delta class is going to be ongoing for a bit. And behind, Dejay and Long are also in a fight. Mayer is on pit exit, and that's Kyle Murray right there. And there is McAllister, there's McKenzie, and there is a scrap happening. He's going around the Delta leader and Marcel Thomas, and actually he may go by Matthew Mayer. He's jumped Mayer on pit exit. Mayer has to tuck in just behind. They're both gonna jump by. That's Jason Lynn, actually, and then Marcel Thomas, he's gonna have to get around the outside of him in this corner. Thomas yields it to him. Now Lazan is next. He and Raymond too have to navigate this mess. Polasek and Schenk and Leopold are right behind them. All the leaders right here in a row. They're all flashing wildly at these lapped cars. And Lazan still not able to get around Thomas yet. Lynn starting to let these these leaders through. But now they come through the chicane, and Lazan is going to go for the move on Thomas, and it didn't even look like he was looking to give Lazan that, but Lazan does go through. We'll go on board with Michael Polasek as he watches Raymond 2 go for this overtake on this Delta driver. That's Marcel Thomas again. He's going to have to go to the right here on the front stretch. And Thomas did look like he braked a little early at turn 1 last lap. And here he's just letting them by on the front straight. And this is always, that's so awkward for the driver trying to yield to the blue flags when you use them as slipstream. You can't blame the fast guys for doing it, but it puts those guys, the slower guys, in such a difficult position already. And now they're having to work their way around Gareth McAllister. McKenzie has cleared him. Mayer is next. And McKenzie, he won the first race at Orem Park last week. He's looking for a second victory in 3 races. And that would also be the first time that Michael Polasek has not won a race within 3 races all season. Meeperson coming back at Clavijo around the outside of turn 1. That's tough to do, and he's cleared him before the next corner. And now Michael Polasek going for the move on Raymond 2 in the chicane, and on the exit of it, he's cleared him. So Polasek is making a recovery here. This isn't total disaster. He repaired the damage. He climbed back up the field. He may miss out on a podium, but he's going to get enough points that this, even if this is a drop week, it's not going to be a bad one. Jason Lynn and Marcel Thomas are side by side now that they've let the leaders go, scrapping for the top 10 in the Delta class, going all the way down to turn 1, wheel to wheel. Lynn has a slight advantage. And under the braking, it looks like he's going to sweep around Thomas and take that position. Polasek and Raymond 2 have Gareth McAllister separating them from the rest of the leaders. And only 6 minutes to go in this one, and they're over 3 seconds from those guys. Lazan probably has a better chance of getting involved. If something happens between McKenzie and Mayer, then he could jump right on this. For Mayer, he's got to apply the pressure. I think he knows he's faster. I think he's faster, and he is attached to the back bumper of McKenzie as well. It's very easy to make a mistake on this track. He's got to find a way to force McKenzie into one. Either a feint in the chicane or maybe something in those final 2 corners, because it's very easy to put your opponent offline in that second to last corner in a way that completely ruins their final corner, compromises it, and then you can get them down the straightaway. Otherwise, you know, the slipstream is almost non-existent. The straights are definitely not long enough for that. Maybe you get a little bit on the back straight. Oh, he's right up to McKenzie now on the back bumper. Well, this is going to be a very close affair. Less than 5 minutes to go. We've already done 31 laps here at Sandown. McKenzie looking for his second win in the last 2 weeks. Matthew Mayer trying to deny him that by taking his 3rd win on the season. And what of John Lazan? Lazan, I believe we talked earlier about when it was the last time that he had won a race. Maybe we talked about that earlier this season. We'll get the statisticians on that. But it's been a while. He's due, and he's shown great pace here today. He qualified well, and he stuck it there. He's still where he qualified amongst all the shuffling of pole seconds to which he has survived. I think he's the only driver today I haven't seen make any kind of serious error. I think he may have had a slowdown earlier. So there's a few battles going on track right now. Puada Rizla and JB DeJay are still in a close fight. Tyler Long got around DeJay earlier and is moved up to 4th in the Delta class. He's 3.5 seconds off of Clavijo. I think that's going to be too much to overcome. Meeperson trying to pick up his first career Delta podium here at Sandown. Matthew Mayer, here he goes into the chicane once again. This time Lazan's closer to him. But this is where he can make a move. Oh, he's a little wide. He's big wide. He's going to go sideways. He's going to say hello and goodbye to McKenzie as he parks it in the gravel. I cannot believe how close he came to the race leader without actually knocking him off track. He's going to rejoin ahead of Shink, and we're going to have to jump to the battle between Meeperson and Clavijo because Clavijo has jumped back ahead, and this is all helping Tyler Long catch the podium runners. In the meantime, Lazan is on the back bumper of McKenzie. And it has all gone so well for the 77 today. Whether he gets past the 04 or not, this will be his best career finish in a while, and it will be well deserved. He's got a big run. McKenzie has to go defensive, and he will manage to get ahead of the 77 in the next corner. On to the back stretch. There's still probably 3 laps to go, including this one. They're pulling up to the back of Kyle Murray as well. Murray isn't fighting for anything right now. He's actually very far. He got 10 seconds to the car ahead and 10 seconds to the car behind. But he's not close enough to McKenzie to even think about yielding to blue flags. But in a couple laps he might. And will he throw a wrench in the works? We look back to the battle between Clavijo and Meeperson. Meeperson still stuck behind Clavijo. They've been swapping back and forth. Tyler Long is pulled to within 1.5 seconds of this group. Picked up his first career Delta win at Orem Park last week. This week, he has climbed 5 positions in this race and is threatening another Delta podium. I think that would be his 3rd Delta podium in a row if he managed to get past one of these 2. McKenzie under heavy pressure from Lazan. He's in the middle of the track. Lazan goes to the right and under the brakes. He's not going to get alongside the 04, but he's compromised his line, and he will have to go defensive here again. And again, he manages to get by the 77. Look at this. Remember how I said, even if Polasek doesn't get on the podium, this is still a good point stay. Well, he is on the podium after Mayer went off. And speaking of Mayer, he's not that far off this group, all things considered. That could have been much worse, but he could theoretically catch the back of the 96 by the end, even if he won't have time to do anything. McKenzie, will he have to go defensive in the chicane? It's not something you want to have to do. For now, he's still on the racing line. Lazan not close enough to threaten. And Murray is currently about a second ahead of McKenzie right now. What he might be doing here as we come on to the final lap of this race is he's giving McKenzie slipstream down the front stretch, protecting him from Lazan. It may not be much slipstream, but it's enough to neuter a slipstream from 3 or 4 tenths back and make it essentially useless. Lazan, Polasek, and Raymond 2 are all sniffing on the back of the 04, waiting for the next big mistake in this race. 1 lap to go. Murray ahead. He's not close enough to threaten anything from McKenzie yet. And now down the back straightaway. Lazan is not close enough to threaten in the chicane, I think. 3 tenths of a second. We will ride on board as he goes down the chicane for the last time today. Your race leader, Logan McKenzie. Polasek looking for a late lunge on John Lazan, but Lazan goes defensive, and I think he will hold that position. Logan McKenzie, he went winless the first half of the season. Now, 2 weeks in the back half of the season, 2 race wins for the 04. Logan McKenzie will win at Sandown, and he is 3 for 3 at Sandown in ATC. A stellar performance, climbing from 6th to 1st through pit strategy and just staying on the track. In the meantime, Chris McDonald will be claiming his first victory of the season in the Delta class. The 85 crosses the line at Sandown, victorious for Gator Racing. And Evan Clavijo, not only did he keep Meeperson behind him, but long did it. He jumped Meeperson. He won't have enough time to get to Clavijo. But on the podium, it will be Clavijo and Long with his third consecutive podium. And there is your race winner, Chris McDonald. And that is a commanding lead he had in the end. He was well clear of the rest of the Delta class. Over 20 seconds was the gap. And there is your race winner in the overall in the Alpha class. Logan McKenzie denying Lazan the victory at Sandown. And for our championship leader, Marco Polasek, this is the first time that he has failed to win a dry endurance race since season 13. Whole lot of chaos in this race had to occur to prevent that from happening still. He was right there at the end. But here, the 04 victorious, and looks like he is out of fuel. So we will get you your final results from today's race here at Sandown. Logan McKenzie victorious. And here are those results. Pennzoil Super Touring represented at the top. It is McKenzie over Lazan by a half second, and then Polasek within a second there at the very end. An impressive comeback, and in the end, he being the one who made the big mistake the earliest, he had the most time to make up for it. Mayer and 2 round out the top 5. Mayer did get past 2 in the end as well. We missed that. Schenk finishing 6th, Leibold, and then McDonald was 8th overall as well. A big bundle of Delta points. And that puts him at the top of the Delta class. Long and Dejay
finish on the podium? I'm fairly certain we watched Clavijo and Nieperson cross the line in third and fourth, right? I think they've both collected penalties there that they couldn't serve, possibly for hitting the off-track limit. That's the only thing I can think, because they are now buried, and Long is now second place in the Delta class. DeJay is on the podium, and Alrijla is fourth. Spencer Clark finishes 13th. That's his best performance of the season, and Savinovic ends up 14th, and he is the last Alpha driver still running. And before we get to those guys, Saab, Lynn, Thomas, the two Thomases finishing right next to each other. Dave Thomas, in the end, a 20th isn't bad, but with him finishing 20th, John Daniels finishing 25th, JB DeJay 11th. DeJay is now within 10 points of Daniels for this championship lead. Suddenly, Thomas is falling away, and it's DeJay versus Daniels right now, going into the final 4 rounds. Can Thomas bring it back? We'll have to find out next week. We'll talk about where we're going next week in a moment. Gareth McAllister, 22nd. Rakowski, Trost, Daniels, Nemaik, Barber, Lobner. And Nemaik was actually the final finisher. Barber, Lobner, and Rick Meyer did not finish. And then Bowman, McFarlane, Zepka, Bertolucci, and Darnell all having major issues in this race. Next week, we go to the incredibly short Monza Junior Circuit for a sprint challenge. It will be a race. It will be 2 of the races of all time, I'll tell you what. I hope to see you there. We will get you your updated championship standings for every class and teams coming up. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and have a good night.